I have to say I'm so proud of every one of you here. You spending the evening hours after a long day at work to come to listen to something. I don't think that you came because you are curious, because I think you want to gain something so that you can really bring it back and make the world, the life of the people around you, the community that you serve, a better place, not just for you, not for only for the people who look like you, but for everybody. So I want to thank you so much for being here. And I would like to thank Nicole and Maya and everyone at Third Sector New England. And actually, I really appreciate Ning for helping me so much with the high tech. I'm totally allergic to high technology. I either break out or I break the computer down or something. So I will be, I just want you to know, I hope that I will take only 20 minutes of my talking and showing you slides and things like that. And please feel free to ask as many questions as you want. The reason that I can be here and speak to you is really big. I built my experience and what I have accomplished, not for me, but the accomplishment that I have. Forgive me for saying it this way, in a global scale, because of the many people that I have to step on there, that are willing to carry me and pave the path for me to get where I am now. So to feel free to ask questions, okay? So I am the director of Massachusetts, and Worcester, the South Asian Coalition, has become the leader of cultural knowledge. We have been able to share a lot of our Southeast Asian cultural nuances with many people who serve our people, let it be public school, to housing, engagement. We have direct and referral services. We have civic and community engagement program, healthcare access, education, business ownership, youth program, and I think the really important part that we come with an amazing wealth of cultural heritage that we add into the color cultural diversity of the community that we live in. For us, it's the city of Worcester. So this is just a snapshot of people waiting for direct and referral service at the Southeast Asian Coalition. We have folks of all ages, from actually prenatal until, oh my goodness, I shouldn't say age, but I have also got a phone call some time ago. The lady, my husband died a few days ago, but we don't know what to do. So, you know, it's really hard for immigrants and refugees who don't speak the language, because things like this happen. Then what do they do if they don't know where to go to help solve the problem? The problem. We pretty much serve from before born until forever. Yeah, anything clients need help with. The lady on your left is Tracy Nguyen, and the lady on your right is Em Chiu. They both also former refugees from Vietnam. And we are so very fortunate, I cannot tell you, as a former refugee from Vietnam, and now being able to serve in addition to the Vietnamese is truly an honor. So the South Coalition, we are very pleased to serve folks from Burma, Iran, Iraq. We have some from Syria, and we also have Nepal, Bhutan, Laos, Cambodia, really many parts, other parts of the world. and and these folks, these are two different groups from Burma, and gentlemen are from Iraq. Has anyone here ever heard Mandaean refugees? You know, I am so pleased to share something I learned to connect to a professor. And she said, no, I never heard of them. Anyway, so one day, 2 years ago, Dr. called me on the phone. I never met him before. I didn't even know what he looked like. And he said, Miss Anh, I heard that you help refugees. Your organization. Yes, we do. What part of Asia are you from? Because I assumed that he's from Asia. And he said, well, kind of from Asia. Well, to make a long story short, he said, I really need to meet you today. And I said, you have to wait, you know, because I have lots of things going today. And he said, do you work from the garage to your house? And I said, no, I live in Boston. I don't have a garage. And he said, oh, that's even better. It would take you a longer time to find a parking spot. So can I meet you in Boston where you park your car? And then wherever you park your car, I will just talk to you from there to your house. So I went up, and I hope that he's sick. He wanted to come, he couldn't come. Not far from our house, because the person, I had never met him, but he would be home. And so sponsor the influx of the Middle Eastern refugees to Massachusetts. You know that? I think there's about 3,000 Mandaeans in Massachusetts now, resettled from. Well, Mandaeans are the direct descendants of John the Baptist followers. So they predated Christianity, they predated Christians. They were ethnic minority in Iran and Iraq. And they were scattered. There's a lot of persecution for religious reasons or whatever. So they scatter all over the world. I heard that there used to be about 60,000 of them, but now there are less than 3,000 in the Middle East, and the rest are everywhere. But guess where the largest concentration of money? It is right here in Worcester, in central Massachusetts. So in a way, Worcester is such a great place because of refugees and immigrants. I think we have a lot of treasures in the world that not many people know about. Don't you love? I will tell you why they are there later. And we also have civic and community engagement. We compete the dragon boat, and we didn't make the 5, but we try very hard, and that we're helping our folks to register to vote and English second language. And we also encourage parents and grandparents to read to their children or grandchildren 20 minutes a day. And we have tutoring for high schools. And in this group right here, the young man on the left, Danny Ngo is Vietnamese. Tia is Karen. She's from Burma, but she speaks Karen language. And Aisha is a refugee, also from Burma. And we have a focus group here. We talk about public school, what they expect from the public school for their future. And somebody from the public schools is there as well. So we do health care. And this is our, so we were able to meet with a group of mental health. So I understand there's a wonderful group that serve the mental health area for Asians back there, and you're gonna hear from me all of the time. I'm gonna need your help. These folks are from the world as well, Africa, parts of the world. And this is our garden. Every time Vietnamese see a strip of grass that has nothing to eat, to be eaten, we think it's such a waste. Flowers and grass are such a waste. We have to grow something that we can eat. So this is the strip of grass, and our elders complained about it. So I suggested, so we get a small grant, and there we go. So they also, the reason I pushing for this, because when they do this, when they did this, they also went to the library. Yeah? This is another, we do this almost once, we do it often. We go to the senior center to speak with elders. So we inform them many things, voting, flu shots, everything. And you know, in the Asian community, elder parents are kings and queens. They go home and they tell their kids what to do. And so you let one elder know, at least 3 other people will know. So it's a really good plan, I think. And we have knitting and we have embroidery. All of these amazing people come to this country with incredible skills that either extinct in the world, extinct in this country. And why do we send things overseas to be made when we have them right here? So this is one of my favorite stories. One of our clients, you know, when people have mental health issues, anxiety, depression, PTSD, or whatever, do you know that arts and creativity are really helpful for them? So when they come to our office, we always give them something to make, and they end up making something like paper flowers or whatever. And this is the gala of the annual fundraising gala for Healthcare for All. It's also a really great organization, and they used to fund us. And they said, we want to support you. What can you make? What can you do? And I was thinking, you know, all of these people didn't have a job, and they're so good with what they can do. So I suggest, can we make something for you that you can use for your gala? So we ended up have a grant, and 100% of that money go back to the people who make them. And you can see as a centerpiece for the gala at Healthcare for All. And this is a knitting program. We were able to get the elders to be busy. The previous one were the Vietnamese, and this group, she's from Syria, he's from Nepal, she's from Bhutan, and the other 2 ladies from Burma. And when they finish with the knitting, it become the cozy for the cups. It become gifts for this company that contracted us to do it for them. So this is the final products that we were able to make for them. And embroidery and putting sequins in clothes. This is the superintendent of Worcester Public School, and we have an amazing troupe for lion dance. And Tony loved music, so when he came to school, the kids would go to office to do whatever they want to. I told them, you don't even have to do homework here, because being a Vietnamese child, my parents forced me to do homework, and until I go to bed, actually. So they all have to turn in their grade report card. So if their grade go down, or if they in kind of shaky situation with their grades, then they cannot be a part of some events like lion dance troupe, something like that, but never happened yet. And they can come and do whatever they want to, like filmmaking, music, or just chit-chatting. And this is our kitchen. So everyone here doing their thing and eat. And we also very with the open mission. With the lion dance, we were able to, we got a grant from Attorney General Maura Healey, and we used the lion dance to go to different, actually our children, all all of the public school in the city of Worcester. So we use the line dance to get the attention, and then from there we bring out flyers just to bring awareness about opioid danger and prevention, and call if they have questions, if they have concerns. And so this is our youth, and that's a little baby. One of our former youth came back to visit us with one of his baby, with his first child. We have the Asian Festival once a year. About 3,000 people came, and we have about the community in the city of Worcester. Is really wonderful. It's free, and we practically brought Asia to Worcester doorstep. It's the what you call them, the costume, to the artifacts, the musical instruments. Everything is 100% authentic for their country. And some of them, including my own father, I will show you later how hard it was for us to flee the country, to come, to go to across the sea. And it's amazing that some people would try to bring artifacts, musical instruments with them while they're swimming or climbing over gates. I will show you later. And so this is part of the Asian festival that we had. And the mayor, Mr. Patty, and this Congressman McGovern's there. And Mimi is one of the Vietnamese medical students. Our performers. So, shelter. And we have at least 5,000 will reach at our events, and 100 clients were employed. We have more than 9 small business owners as of today. We are very fortunate to have new health programs that address diabetes, mental health, and dental care for our clients. We have 19% increase in new clients in 2015. And the best part, the 14% increase of Worcester Asian American voters that actually went out and cast their vote. And this number comes from mass vote table. And all of that, the reason we could do it because we have more than 300 volunteers. Our youth program is wonderful, 100% graduation, 100% of them pursued higher education. Last year, 31 youth were hired as part-time employees somewhere or with us. So the Southeast Asian presence in Worcester, we act as a bridge connecting the Asian community to the city and the greater community. We help to prepare Asians to become contributing citizens. We provide safe place for Asian youth to grow holistically, away from drugs and gangs, off the streets, stay in school, pursue higher education, and volunteer. And we're also cultural partners and consultant to others. And I would like to share with you this wonderful story about Bo, also mental health coach. And in this particular picture, Bo was given the Community Hero Award by the Asian American Commission of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Asian American Commission. And Bo is in his late 20s now, but when he was young, he's a number 4. He grew up in the refugee camp. His parents survived the Pol Pot regime, and life was really difficult for for all of them. And last year, refugee camp that his parents that he was. And he always wanted to go back to tell the kids there that you will, one of these days, you don't have to be this way. You can rise above all of this. You are special. Your mind, your heart is very, very special. What it will take you to survive and survive with dignity and with honor. And my presentation to the slideshow, but I would like to bring us back why we are here today and what Third Sector New England is doing with the TSNE mission work. I like what they wrote, that in the midst of today's hostile political climate, grassroots organizers remind us that the struggles of oppressed people are not new. So Third Sector New England Mission Works, with their long history of nonprofit capacity building, seeks to use their platform to lift up the voices of grassroots community organizers working on some of our society's most pressing issues. And from what you saw, I hope that you also recognize three things that Third Sector New England Mission Work pointed out to you in your letter. Is the creativity. A lot of that is really out of the box thinking, because at the very beginning when I was hired for this job, our organization just did translation and interpretation. And we have ESL class, we have the youth program. It's like a babysitting, like keep kids off the street. But the more I work with the refugees and immigrants, not just from Asia, but from other parts of the world, I think we have a gold mine right here. We have a hidden treasure right here, waiting to be acknowledged and to be discovered and to be invested. They, in my opinion, they are really an incredible resource for all of us. And so the is that I do something really crazy, like the garden. And you know that from that little stretch of garden, you know what happened? We got a grant from Massachusetts Department of Agriculture. So we're gonna grow, oh my goodness, I really hope that someone from the building of my building won't be mad at me, but we're gonna have a hydroponic garden in my office. And so, because in the winter we couldn't grow Asian herbs, and one very intellectual folks call this project food justice, cultural food justice. And I don't like to use the word justice because, well, so I would like to call it just cultural heritage herbs growing, whatever you call it. And so with that, we will be able to use the herbs that will be growing in the winter. It costs a lot more money for people, especially if you don't have a lot of money to go to the shop, the store to buy fresh herbs. You know how much it costs at Whole Foods, right? A little package of basil is $3 something. Anyway, so we're gonna grow that there, and then we have a professional kitchen that we will be able to allow all of the elders from Iran, Iraq, Asia, Burma, Vietnam, whatever, to make something. And with that, I'm already signed up for several fairs on the street so that they will be able to showcase their food and thing, and the flower making thing. I'm just so grateful. You know, with our kind of work, you have to believe in miracles. You have to some God up there, because with the flowers, we will be able to bring in $3,000 with the paper flowers. And who would have thought that with the knitting program, I was able to hire 31 elders and people who don't speak English, people who don't have a job for a long time, to have extra money between the month of November and December. And some of them collect cans in the winter, collect cans for a living. And can you imagine collecting cans in our winter here? And if you're from Asia, it's hard. So creativity, you know, innovation start where you are able to recognize the gifts from other people, something within other people. And resourcefulness, I'm sure you've seen that too, right? And resilient. Oh my goodness. If you could see Boa, the terrible things, the hard thing that he had to go through in order for him to take care of his family. He's had to quit school at 15 years old in order for him to provide for his mom and his siblings. And that's just one of the millions of stories about not just refugees and immigrants, a lot of us who are low income, we survive because of our resiliency. So I mentioned to you about 300 volunteers who has helped us. The two things I would like to stress. Volunteerism is one of the most wonderful things that America has taught me when I came, Vietnamese refugees. And after so many years of being supported, I realized that we all have to be mindful when we volunteer, when we extended our help or reach out to others to help. There's a blurring line between handing out and helping. Volunteer is a two-way win-win. We learn from each other, we give to each other. And the reason I mention this because I was in the receiving end and needy. When I first came here, I had nothing. I will show you how later why I had nothing when I came here. I was needy, and the people difference between helping and handing out. One of them uphold dignity, my dignity, and one lacks of it. And so I'm grateful for what kind of help I got, but losing a sense of losing one's dignity because one receiving help is terrible. I really think that it's all of our responsibility to make sure that the human dignity is always upheld and respected and preserved and protected at all times, whether we help someone or not. And second thing is, with what's happening right now, I was at the march I was at the Women's March last year in Washington, D.C., then I was here in Cambridge. And I was so, it's something inside me, just so happy. I felt so special. And I kept trying to figure out why I felt this way. And you know something? It is truly a privilege, an incredible privilege to express your opinion. I came from Vietnam, and I'm also Asian, and I'm also a woman. All of those three things, have always been a barriers for me to express myself freely, and to express for other people as well. And I remember when I was in Vietnam, bomb was exploding all over me every day of my life in Vietnam. I didn't leave until I was 22. I'm 64 in March now. And never a day that I did not hear explosion close to me. And I believed that I would die the next day. And my sister Debbie slept next to me, and she dug her finger into my flesh, and because she was so scared. And finally I said, every time we heard explosion, so I said, just assume that we're gonna get hit by one of those mortar and blown to bits and die and go to heaven the next day. I got to sleep. And you know, the sad thing is the thought of going to be blown to bits and die has become the lullaby that allow us to sleep. And the next day when we woke up, we're just so happy that we were alive. And I thought of America. I read some books, Old Man the Sea, and something about saw American soldier on the street of Vietnam. And there's such a sense of they own their fate. They are not controlled by fate. For some reason, I thought of it that way. And Vietnamese, and then later on when I came here, I worked with international people. Many people in the world look at the USA as a hope for humanity. if they need a place to take refuge. In Vietnam, I never thought I could go to America. I mean, it's just only a dream. But that hope, America, like a little light at the very end of a very dark, very long tunnel. But that light is still bright. It's still there at the end of that long, dark tunnel. But fast forward to what we're having right now. When we tell the whole world loud and clear, we don't want refugees. Too bad. If you came here 15, 16 years later, we kick you out, even though you pay for it, whatever. You know what I'm talking about. We did not, for the longest time, I really believe that the U.S. has been that hope for all of us. And now, where is that hope? Whether we can fulfill it or not. People said, how could America be a hope when black people get hosed at, dog bit them, Martin Luther King was killed, a lot of terrible things happened. A dear friend of mine produced this great documentary that please, if you have time, you must watch it, about Lorraine Hansberry, the writer of Raising the Sun. It's such a wonderful documentary. It's still going on right now at WGBH. And people said, with all of this, you still think that America is hope? Yes, because we all can go down the street. That's why I felt so amazing in Cambridge last weekend. That's why I felt so amazing among a million of people in Washington, D.C. last year, because no, we don't have a massacre. The foundation of this country still said, freedom is for all. So anyway, that's all I'm going to say. Let me show you 2 minutes of this training. I don't know how I can show you, but this is me. Okay, so Rory told me that they went through thousands of footage of the what the journalists from all over the world collect, film this particular last day of Vietnam. And she picked just some part of it for the whole documentary. And maybe several seconds, 1 minute or two of whatever she needed for the trailer. And that's me, my mom, this is my mom, my sister Zip, and this is me. And so I think the Grassroots organization, the reason we Grassroots, because we know what it takes for us to overcome. We know how people feel. We wanted to be there. Grassroots, we didn't do grassroots work for money, but an incredible wealth inside us, in our life. The relationship we have with each other is just so incredible, so rich, so precious, so priceless. And I'm 64 in a couple of months, and I do not regret anything. I lost many things over and over again. I was able to some way, somehow overcome. But the relationship that I have had with all of the people, because they knew how I felt, I knew how they felt. We are there for each other. The Me Too movement and the Women's March, I just wish people didn't politicalize it too much. Because a friend of mine who's a doctor, she had multiple sclerosis, how would you say that? And so she decided to quit her medical profession, and she only wanted to take pictures. So she got a camera and traveled all over the world to take photos. And one of the photos she sent me last year was 3 women in Tibet, either Nepal or Tibet, I don't remember, was walking either their cow or some big animals, 3 of them wearing the pink hat. They themselves do their own march in their own village, in that part of the world. Many of us are being assaulted or harassed or whatever prejudice happened to all of us. But the movement really helped us to understand that someone out there, we don't know them. They know how I feel. They respect me, even though it happened to me. So it doesn't matter what happened to me. I am understood, I'm respected. That's dignity. you so much for being here and ask me as many questions as you want. You are our future. So take as much as you can from me, from other older people. We are the one who really have to open the doors, giving you the opportunity and raise you so that you can be the best you can be for yourself and for everyone on a global scale. Thank you. Yes.
I wondered, I know sometimes trying to engage can be challenging, and I'm wondering what you did or what strategies did you use in order to really get them at the table and involved and interested?
Okay. I think that's a very good question. I went to quite a few meetings in the last 5 years working in healthcare and many education and many things. And there's amazing ideas, wonderful ideas to help people who, isolated or who cannot, in order for us to narrow the gap of disparities, let's be poverty or whatever. Amazing idea, lots of money, lots of big plans, but it couldn't be practiced because there's the huge gap between all of the amazing plans and people who could use the plans so that they will become self-sustainable and thrive and become contributing citizens. And because of that, your question is very to have come to the table with you so that they can be a part of the policy making, that we can learn about what in the past and what did not work, what can work. And in order for us to do that, we really have to build relationship with the people in the communities. I cannot name, okay, so months ago, Boa and I went to this really big organization on mental health. And we were told that we need your help because we have all of these great people that need mental health. We give them X amount of months for treatment, and now they're done. We don't know what to do with them. Can you help us to put them back in the community? And that's where the problem is, because even I cannot do that. I have to go back to their community to find out where they're from, what language they speak, what community they come from. I need their community to come alongside with me and say, let's work on this together. And in order for us to do that, we have to go physically. And sometimes it's, and you was, for example, with your organization, and you try to certain community speak certain language, you would say, you would have in the language and say that if you would like very much to work with them and you're going to create a focus group or information group in the community center on the day, please contact, let me know if you need ride or whatever it needs for bring your question. We are here to help, and we're expert in whatever, healthcare, housing, or whatever. And I think in order for us to get to there, for example, you're from Boston and you want to work with someone in Worcester, get together with the faith groups. Let's be the mosque or Buddhist temples or churches, and speak with them and say, I would like very much to see how I can bring my program to support your community members. Speak with the representative of the group. The Southeast Asian Coalition right now, we support many different groups, and we also have an Arabic-speaking group in our office as well. So go directly to the leader of the community are the people that take care of their own community. And that way, all of the brilliant ideas will be able to be implemented properly and effectively. But I hate to say this again, funding is so important. When we were told that, look, we have all of these people that go through the treatment, can we just give them to you and you plug them back in the community? Well, you know what? My organization, or whoever you want to work with, will also need some kind of funding in order for us to do that part of the work for you. So work together. Let it be cultural competency, technical assistance, funding, whatever. We have to work together. I hope I answered your questions. Yes?
I'm very moved by your story, and looking at this picture of you in this moment. And so I have two questions that are not very connected, and so you can choose which one you want to answer. The first one is about, how do you, when you look at this picture, what do you see about who that woman at that time was in the moment? So that's the first question. And I'm also curious about the story of how you came to understand that this footage, that this was you in this clip. The other question this is not really connected, but somewhat is, within communities of color, across in our different experiences of oppression within the United States. And I'm thinking specifically about Native-born people of color, African Americans, and people of color who are immigrants, and how we understand our distinct experiences of oppression, because they are very different. And I've been doing some work around this relationship, and it's very challenging to not get into a dynamic of, let's try to not really compete, but my impression is this, and your impression is that, and it's very hard for us to understand, as people of color, that our experiences as people of color are very different. And as an African American woman, my experience of being black in this US has a very different kind of feel. So I appreciate that you were feeling hopeful. I don't always feel so hopeful.
Yeah.
As a black woman.
Thank you. Yep.
So that's my question.
Oh, I really appreciate your question. Very important to me. The first question when I saw that picture, what happened? You know what happened to me when I saw this picture of my brother? Actually, I sent the link to my sibling. I said, look, this is just like how we left Vietnam. I didn't even see this part, right? And I screened it 4 times. I didn't see it. And my brother sent back to me 4 frames, like a 10 of a second each. And I turned the phone off right away. I could not even deal with it. And my sister posted on Facebook. And for immediately, I had a nervous breakdown. This is only about maybe last year. I don't remember when this documentary started, April of last year. And I bit my nail, and the habits continue to this day, a year later. And I couldn't get up in the morning. I'm like totally, really desolate. Felt like I could not do anything. The only reason that I could get up, I was like that. The only reason I had to get up because I have an organization that I sold visits a year. I have to get funding for my staff. The youth come they're supposed to come Wednesday to Friday only, but they always show up Monday and Tuesday. Last week they have school closed because of the storm, Guess where they showed up? At my place, okay? So I cannot explain to you, but I can only tell you that there's some trauma, I don't know what it was, but that hit me like a 20 million ton truck. I got a nervous breakdown because of that. And the second question, when I was in Vietnam, I read about Malcolm X. I read some other stories about black people and white people. And I made an assumption that that was fiction. I didn't believe that it was, this is prior to 1975. I didn't think it was real. And back then we didn't have TV, so I couldn't really see image, news either, everything on radios. And when I came here, I still didn't get it either. I still didn't see that. But it happened very subtly. My knowledge of the discrimination about black and white is very subtle. I know many, many wonderful white people, but I have to say they're racist, but they don't know they're racist. They think they are fine. So, these very quiet things, that's why I talk to you about the dignity. You can help someone, or you don't help somebody. If you help someone and in such a sense that their dignity is restored, what does it take for us to do that? That's where we really understand how we don't break other people because they're different than us. Different colors, different language, different class, whatever. I cannot name the name of the ethnic group that I'm serving. They speak the same language. We help them. We have a class with 2 groups. And the next day they said, I can't do this together. We can't do this together. It has to be 2 different classes because we cannot be in the same with each other. And I told them, no, I only have grant enough for 1 program. I cannot make it 2. And I came home and complained to my husband, these people, don't they know that America, we all are the same? And Philip said, they have almost a century of civil war. They killed, they used to be killed by generation, but their own generation then need to have time for him. Your question is very, very difficult to figure out. And after I watched friend Tracy Heather, documentary on Lorraine Hansberry. She's a black writer, and she's the one that wrote A Race in the Sun, and she became very active in the freedom movement. I couldn't sleep. That sense of, I may have a nervous breakdown again. God knows, I'll tell you the truth. Last night, when it was snowing and raining and whatever, I was so, it's a terrible sinking feeling inside me that all of these discriminating is so subtle, but it's very sharp. It cut the wound deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. So what for us to really make that wound to heal quicker? I don't know. I don't know, except my husband told me that a marriage is a commitment to help the other person to grow. So what does it take for us to help the other person to grow? I'm very different than him. He is as quiet as a clam, and I'm very noisy. We're 100%, 180% difference. I have to tell him what I need to grow. He had to tell me what he needs to grow. He needs space. He needs me to leave him alone. And I need lots of people. So 40 years later, we still, lots of ups and downs. But I really think the first step is a commitment to dialogue in peace and forgiveness. There's so much that, please forgive me for saying this, and I have many wonderful white friends, but there's so much for black people to forgive and for the white people to ask for forgiveness. I really mean it. And a lot of that out of really good intention. We have to be able to talk with each other. We need to say, this is what I need for you to help me to grow. This is what I need for you to help me to grow. And that is the only thing I can tell you. And first of all, I have to also apologize if I say anything or show you any pictures up here that hurt your feeling. Please forgive me. It's totally out of my ignorance, and I want to learn to be better. I hope I answer. I mean, it's just a teeny little bit something, 2 words, something better. Thank you.
Yeah, I just had a question that as we were talking, I think this is something that's been coming up a lot in community conversations is like, right, like, what are some of the new challenges that you see for yourself or with your organization, especially given like this new and current administration, knowing that this like current administration has like values that attack like immigrants, people of color, people. So yeah, I'm just curious if you've come across like any new challenges throughout the past year, given the administration.
Thank you very much. And I know that we are streaming, so I'm being very vulnerable here, and I just ask for forgiveness from everybody watching, listening in this room and watching, whatever. This is the hardest time for me in the last 40 years that I came here. The last part of my speech I told you is that for the whole entire world for the longest time, and we're losing it. We lost it. Even though that hope is a tiny little bright light at the very, very long and very dark tunnel, but we always know that on the liberty, that this land receive people who are weary, who don't have a place, who need a place to take refuge. Now we say, ain't that way no more. It's not like that anymore. You go away. We don't want you. It's the hardest year since I came here. Harder than when I was in Vietnam, worrying about whether I'd be dead or not because of the disappointment that I have had as a Christian. And I was an evangelical Christian. And as a Christian, I was taught by my belief that we take care of foreigners in our land. We take care of people who don't have, period. And somewhere in the Bible said, if someone asks you for a coat, take your own coat and give it. And my disappointment is that majority of the evangelical Christians voted against refugees and immigrants. And this is their land too. This is a country of freedom. We are free to vote. We are free to do whatever we want to do. But I'm 64 soon. For the last 63 years of my life, I really thought Christians are to embrace people who don't have enough. So if we have enough, we share. We do this. So that is a deep disappointment I have. And second disappointment is also very profoundly, and please forgive me, I am telling you the truth and I'm sticking my neck out to be chopped. Many refugees, especially those from Asia, also supported this bill that not allowing refugees and immigrants to come to this country or to repatriate them. And so to answer you that question, I struggled with this for the whole entire year. I wanted to burn many bridges, but I made a decision that I almost even wanted to unfriend a bunch of friends. So can you something years of my life with all of the past friends, I have a lot of them who disagree with what doing right now. I can unfriend all of them, but I made a decision that no, I'm willing to love them. We have to let love take over. We have to be willing to say, I still, in spite of all of that, I still want the best for you, but at the same time, whatever I can do, I will support those. I believe that refugees and immigrants, nobody wants to leave your country at all. You had to do it because you had to. You know, a gun on your little child's head, something like that. Just like that. Why that Aiden, that little boy, parents put him in a boat and then he ended up face down at the beach somewhere in Europe. You remember that boy from, was it Syrian? You know, would parents do that? Out of our own humanity, what do we do for those people? Look at when you drive through the USA, you know, so much land, so much food. Why couldn't we do something for people who didn't have a place to live, who didn't have food to eat? So, you know, asking that question, but together, we're going to make a difference to the person next to us. We will support one another, just like what my husband said. I'm helping you. I commit to help you to grow, to be the best you can be. So let's just start with that. Mother Teresa said, we all can change the world by loving the next person, the person next to us. Let's do that. And you know, Martin Luther King and Gandhi, it's just so amazing how non-violence overcame violence. Yes? The whole world looked to that. And believe it or not, the Women's March started here in America, but see, the telecast is all over the world. Something good happening here in the USA, not because we are American, but because we are people of the world. So let's start from there, and don't let anyone discourage you. If I could climb over that gate, and you know, when I climb over that gate, do you see the barbed wire? All of my clothes were shredded. When I jumped down from that platform to the floor, my clothes float up like ribbons. I was completely naked, no shoes. And now look at what I have. The best part is that I could be here to share with you that we will always overcome. We are here for each other. Thank you. I didn't think I answered your question, but.
All the previous questions, and it also ties into your Grassroots initiative, because this is something that I'm going to be working on in the future years. So it's something that I actually call E3 initiative, and it's based on engagement, education, and empowerment. But the one most important component in all the work that we want to do, whether it's civic engagement, healthcare, youth program, and most importantly, mental health, is the most important word, empathy. Without empathy, I don't think people actually gets it. And so, in all the work that we seem to be doing, there seems to be a lot of lack in understanding and empathy. So my question to you is, how can we promote the power of empathy? And is empathy the ability that can be taught or transferred from one person to the next in order to achieve understanding and unity, or is it something that is naturally instilled in each and every one of us?
This is really an excellent. I think it's a great question. That is a really great question. E3, I like that very much. You know, empathy, I have to find out the exact meaning of what empathy is in English. I think it has many things in the word empathy: kindness, respect, forgiveness, giving, you know, laying one life down for other, understanding. I'm willing to be in your shoe, you know, I'm carrying you. You know, to Vietnamese, the Vietnamese language has a lot of visual images in it. So I really feel that your generation, majority of you here, the people who are, you know, in your teen, 20 and 30s, your generation understand empathy so much better than people who are older than you. And I really mean it. And the people who are older than you went through a lot of things because they're older than you. They have a lot more experience. But for some reason, they forgot how they felt when they had difficult. And so I'm not criticizing anybody at this point now, but I really think that in order for us to inspire, impart, show empathy, we have to start at where we are. Each one of us. If you believe that empathy is something that's going to change the world, you have to start where you are. And whatever it takes for you to do that with love, do that with passion, do that with compassion. Love, passion, compassion will be so addictive, so contagious. The next person will do it. You do it, 3 person will get it. Each 3 person will do it. That will be another 3, you know, before you know it. But it has to be like a pebble tossed on the water. It has to be a ripple effect because we cannot have a plan. Okay, this is how we're going to do empathy. Step 1, do this. Step 2, do this. Step 3, do it. Empathy is a very beautiful thing. It has multiple language. It's like a huge diamond with many, many facets. It's a diamond that gives life, that really draw people in. So to make it as simple as I can say it, live your life in such a way that people see empathy in you, see dignity, see how you dignify others. And that's how you change the world. And that's what Mother Teresa also said. So, thank you.
I think my son is 20-ish, so I just want to go more into your last question. But just so thank you so much to everyone for this day. So engaged and
young people are also starting to have more of a critique of the economic system that we have here. You know, so anyway, I was just curious about your understanding of that and just given your experiences, you know, from Vietnam, where people here are starting to have a critique of capitalism, you know, and all the social problems that stem from it and so on. Just given your experience, you know, is it difficult to empathize, you know, with that sensibility of not trusting a system that's based on, you know, you get what I'm saying, right? Yeah. Like people are suspicious about the intentions of the forces there.
I see. So please forgive me if I help me out. Okay. So you wonder if how to deal with people being suspicious with the government, like because I come from Vietnam and the Vietnam War happened there, and kind of destroy a lot of stuff, everything sort of, and so I had to leave my country to come here. How could I restore the trust of the people, the same people that came to my country and destroy us? Is that what your question?
Something like, yeah, essentially, but the U.S. government was worried about communism taking over and was the champion of capitalism, right? But people here in this country are starting to have more and more of a suspicion and critique of that economic system that was being defended by this war. And so how do you see it? It must be difficult as somebody who came here.
Yeah, I'm not so sure if I understand your question about communism, and I know that that's what started the Vietnam War, to stop the spread of communism, communism in Asia. It's a long story, but I will try to make it short. Okay, so Vietnam for many, many years were dominated by somebody else because we are such a great, beautiful little country. We're along the coast. So if you could invade Vietnam, you will invade the rest of Southeast Asia. You know that, right? So, I mean, you know that, but I mean, according to the map, that looks like it. So, so for many years, Vietnam was dominated by other people, big people, China, France, Japan, and then the American War happened. During the time that the French occupied Vietnam, Ho Chi Minh fought against the French so that Vietnam will regain independence. And I think toward the 1940s or something like that, the end of 1940s, Ho Chi Minh wrote President Truman saying that American, with your human right, would you step in and help broker communication between us and the French and ask the French to give Vietnam independence? We have actually went at one of the battle that Ho Chi Minh's troop won, beat the French. Bading Square, he gave a speech, and it's pretty much translated word by word from the Declaration of Independence of the U.S. Okay, so but at that time, President Truman had his hand tied because during the Second World War, France was your ally, and it's a bigger fish than Vietnam. So forgive me, a lot of this can be murky. So the United Nations agreed to divide Vietnam to North and South, and then 2 years later, people can vote whether they're going to continue to be communist or whether they're going to have democracy. But it didn't happen that way. The communist bloc, the Eastern Bloc, wanted to hold on to the South Vietnam, North Vietnam, and the American, tried to help us to fight the North. But as you can see, there's a lot of things for us not to trust. Vietnam is, to me, like a game, like a chess game, being played by two different people, and they try to beat the other. And we just happen to be the chess pieces that get knocked out. But I want you to remember one thing. It doesn't matter whether it was right or wrong. There's something else that's still very beautiful that came out from that terrible, horrific, bloody war. When I came back to Vietnam, I was very afraid of the communists. At the North. And in the year 2000, my husband Vietnam for a humanitarian project, and it was when I in Vietnam. And when because I was invited to be there to speak, and they asked me 3 questions. The first question was, the students, the medical students, this is in Hanoi, and the first question was, why did you leave Vietnam when your country finally united? There's North and South, there's one country now, which was true. The second question was, live among your enemies, the people who drop bombs on your own people. Did the American ever commit? They lost the war. I cannot end. Well, the first question, because of these questions, I was forced to answer, and I'm very impressed with some way, somehow, maybe God help me for sure, I was able to come up with the answer. The question, how could you leave? And I said, the reason I left was because the war was so horrific. I told you earlier that explosion happened every night. So when we had a chance to leave, we just jumped on, whatever, climb over the gate, whatever, to leave, because we're afraid that the war will continue. So that's how I left. And when I told them that about my fear with the explosion at night, the crowd, the audience whispered to each other, yeah, we did, it happened to us too. The second question, how could you live among people who consider you as enemy? And I said, there's a big difference between the politicians and the real people. Because even the old, I saw they build bridges, roads, streets, hospitals, schools for us. And they did not shoot at us except at one incident that I didn't know until I hear the My Lai massacre. And so, and the third question was, did the American ever admit that they are losing? I read Eric Maria Remarque. He's the journalist who wrote the book Arc de Triomphe, it's a wonderful book, anti-war book. And he said that the victory of all war is the end of it. So I shared with them that quote, and I said, many American mothers, father, wives, like Vietnamese mother, father's wife, lost their sons and husband, brother and sisters in this war. So everybody's very grateful that the war's over. So, and I left at that. And one person came up to me and said, thank you for sharing, because it really helped healing of what she had to go through with her own family with the war, that the other people also said the same thing. So this brought me back to your question back there about black and white, and about injustice and discrimination. This doctor, she's from the North, she's a communist. I was from the South, didn't like communists, she didn't like me. I shared with her all of the things I went through, how scared I was, and she realized that we do have a lot in common. So to answer your question, out of something, we have to believe that out of something very difficult, very ugly, there's still some beauty in it, because we are human. There's something so beautiful in humanity. We have to have the heart and the eye to see that, or else life is a terrible place to be. Thank you. I love you all. It's here, so feel free to, like I said, I'm committed to help you to grow, so feel free to use my card and email me. I'd be happy to meet you in Boston or in Worcester or wherever. Yeah?
Yes, and just as a closing as well, we do have a sign sheet in the back if anyone is interested in sharing contact information.